good? Back with another edition of the Major Music Lounge podcast. This is the podcast where we talk to other creators about some of the projects they're working on. Could be music producers in the sound design space. So let's just say they come out with their own sound packs, or they work with developing expansions with like a native instruments or a Kai, for example, or they could be into music production, app development, as well as content creation. And the same could go for artists as well. We do have independent artists on the Major Music Lounge podcast. If this is your first time here, you can follow me on Instagram at d._major music. Also, go ahead, hit the subscribe button. Today, we're going to have a producer by the name of Jay Johnson. I've actually been following Jay for quite some time between both Facebook and Instagram. And Jay has a upcoming project coming out called Mosaic, and he's released one previously called Dopamine, which we're going to talk about, as well as his journey as a music creator and more. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'd like to welcome everybody to another edition of the Major Music Lounge podcast, joined by my good friend Jay Johnson, who's also a producer, music creator. Going to talk about some of his upcoming and recent projects. Actually got a upcoming project called Mosaic, and then a recent project. I was kind of going through your page and just listening to some of your tracks, but Dopamine, that was pretty dope as well. We're gonna talk about some of your projects and just your whole journey creating music and more. So, first and foremost, how's everything going with you, Jay?
Yo, man. First of all, man, I appreciate you having me, man. It's a blessing. Everything is doing well. I'm alive. I'm trying to get it, man. Just trying to make things happen, just like yourself, man. So I appreciate you having me.
Oh man, no doubt. The funny thing is we kind of been following each other for a while, a minute, like between Facebook and Instagram, and just checking each other's music out over the years. And it's finally great to, have a conversation, with you as another creator. And I guess the first topic we can get into is, tell us a little bit about your journey creating music. Like, how did you get involved in music production? Did you start out maybe playing an instrument, or was it just being a fan of the, art of hip hop? Like, how did you get started with music, and what led you up to creating beats?
Man, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I don't think we have enough time to talk about that, but I'm gonna try to speed it up a little bit, man. When I was a little shorty, man, in New York, my sister would put me and my little brother on the fire escape because we was too. You know how the conception of hip hop, and everybody would be in the streets, and the DJs and the MCs would be out there rocking the crowd and all that good stuff. So me and my younger brother was like 6 and 7. Right, so we couldn't be out there in the crowd because we get lost and all that good stuff. So my sister would sit us on a fire escape with a pizza, and we'd sit out there. Excuse me, we sit out there and we listen to the festivities and see what's going on and all that good stuff. And we sit out there and eat pizza. Then um family moved down to Georgia, so around the age of 15, 16, you know, we would go back and forth. Like on the summer, we go to school in Georgia, but then in the summer we go back up to New York, and going back up there, you got Hot 97, you got BLS, you got Kiss FM, and every Friday they have like a DJ would come in and for 2 hours and would spin. And so me and my brother would like fight over who's going to record this weekend or whatever. Take the tapes back down to Georgia, back down to Atlanta, and we'd be the talk of the town. We'd be like, "Yo, where you get this from? This is that or whatever." So I started DJing parties with them tapes, and that's how I got started. You know, I started DJing parties with those tapes, and then I, got enough money to get my own rigs and everything. So I started doing my thing. So I've been DJing since I was 16, and so here I do like weddings and parties and pool parties and stuff like that, DJing here. And one day, man, and somebody requested a song, and I played it, and I'm just sitting there thinking to myself like, yo, I can do this. This simple four beat, this and that or whatever. I can do this. So I, got my gear and started doing music. And we all know like the first 2 or 3 attempts that you trying to make music, it really bad. It's really bad. But you think you got off the box though, So I'm playing it, and people looking at me like, yo, this ain't it, fam. This ain't it. So I had to go back and tweak my style and do whatever. And here I am, like 7 years later, man. I'm doing my thing, and and I got people gravitating to my music, and they love it. So that's how I got started.
Man, that's a pretty interesting story. First, having that background growing up in New York and then, coming down south as well. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like you got a taste of two parts of the culture, basically. And I think that's pretty cool in itself. And I know, just being in those places, especially kind of like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it just sounds like um the times you were in Atlanta, that was kind of when T.I. and that whole ATL movement
Well,
start.
you can come. I mean, it was. You ever heard of a guy named MC Shadi?
uh
It's a
it's
lot. I mean, I was like 15, 16. He had this song come called "Shake It."
okay.
That's when like like Two Live Crew, the Poison
Yeah.
Clan,
Okay, so that was
Magic
even
Mike.
earlier than that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
okay.
it was those guys. So and what they called it back in that day in the South, they called it shake your booty music,
Yeah.
like shake your booty music. But I'm going up north, and I'm coming back with like Houdini, Run DMC, the Boogie Boys, the Fly Girls. I'm coming down. I'm bringing a whole different vibe. I mean, everybody they still like that their stuff from the South, but they would listen to this. He's like, yo, where'd you get this from? It's like, trust me, it'll be here in a couple of months. Because everything in New York at that time slowly gravitated down south. It's not as fast as it is
Yeah.
now because you got the little XM radio. So once they put it out, anybody in the world can hear it. But it was just like it had to slowly make its way down, down south, just going across, from the north to out west and stuff like that. But man, I had people would like be waiting on me and my brother to get home. It's like we get home, like, yo, man, y'all got them tapes? Like, yo, we got them tapes, man. we got, you know, and I just enjoyed my time as a kid, man. It was all about having fun, man. Just putting your stuff outside and just enjoying whatever and wasn't no beef, wasn't nobody breaking stuff and fighting and none of that. It was just at that time, man, the community I was in, man, we all got together, we all hung around, and there wasn't no animosity, anything like that. So it was just a good time back then, man.
Yeah,
You know.
man, like with the music, like a lot of people don't realize, I would say more so the under 25, maybe even under 30 creators to the degree, um, how music was more localized like 20 plus years ago. Cause I remember, like, for example, I grew up in Louisiana, and like around that kind of time you were mentioning, that was a time where we started to hear other artists kind of like Juvenile,
Yep.
BG, a
Yep.
lot of Cash Money Records, even early like Lil Wayne around that time. And they were getting a lot of buzz around Louisiana. And not only them, we had even like people coming out from Houston that would spend a lot of time in my hometown. So we knew a lot about like Houston hip hop as well. But
Yeah,
like, I could kind of understand when you said you would go up to New York and you would get stuff that wasn't out yet and bring it back down south because, kind of like I was saying, we would hear a lot of these records first. And by the time they went nationwide, we had already heard these records like a year or two.
it was already old for you.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And now is, you go to DistroKid and within a matter of hours or days, your record is, all over the world at that point. So,
Yep.
it's a lot easier, and especially if you grow your network, you promote your project, you try to create a lot of buzz around your project. So it's a very different game as far as creating and releasing music now than it was a long time ago. But even for fans, that the fact that we can now connect a lot faster with our fans now. So now I noticed too, going through your Instagram, you're an MPC producer. I'm also an MPC producer. Got the MPC one, in fact, right next to me here on
Yeah,
that
man.
table. Um, have you always been an MPC guy? Have you kind of,
No,
yeah? Tell us a little bit
I
about that.
so okay, so the first beat machine I got, all right. So do you remember it was like this piece of trash called the beat thing?
Oh man, I remember. So around that time, that was probably like 2010, 2009 maybe, and I was
Yep.
working at a Best Buy here in Dallas, and we had one of those there, and it was clunky, man. It was big and clunky,
Oh
and
my
it
God,
had
it was
these
the
oddly
worst.
shaped pads on it, and you could
It
have
was the
used
worst.
batteries with it. But I heard that, I never owned one, but I heard that the batteries, it would just run through batteries like crazy.
Look,
But
man,
yeah, yeah, go ahead.
that thing was the worst. Now, I'm not gonna lie, that was like my first piece. So of course, like anybody else, did some research. I'm just like, and I'm doing my research. I'm just like, okay, the NPC, I don't know. The native interest machine, I'm, with me being a military instructor, I like to take my stuff with me. So I want to be mobile. So if I feel, like I want to put down something, I can get out of bed and just chop something up and do whatever. So this was the perfect piece for me. So I get it, and I go. I forget where I went, but I went to this trip. It was like 3 week trip, and so I'm, doing my thing, and I got all these sounds and all that good stuff. So it would record, but it would never allow me to do a wave or an MP3 of that. So it'll let me record what I was doing. I could play it back on there and all that good stuff. And I just got tired of not being able to like take the stems and put it in Pro Tools and then tweak it and make a song. So I went. So it was like after that 3 week trip, I came back. I went down to the Guitar Center and traded that damn thing in and got the Native Instruments machine. I got the machine MK2. All right. So that was cool. So about a year, I started rocking with that. Then come to find out that they don't use WAV files, they don't use MP3 files, anything like that. So I did some more research, and Akai does. So I was just like, bet. So I got me the old school MPC Studio, the silver one, and was rocking with that. So I was good with that. And then I just wanted to upgrade. Then I got the MPC Renaissance, which is right here next to me. So then I got a Ren, and I was rocking with that. So and then Akai came out with that MPC Live, and I was just like, that's it. That's what I'm taking with me on the road. So anytime I go anywhere, man, I take that with me, and I just rock it out, man, and just play something. I can save it. I can come back and throw it in Pro Tools and tweak everything and all that good stuff. So that's what I've been using, man. I use those three pieces of equipment.
Yeah.
I no more beat thing, no more machines, just strictly a guy. So I switched over real quick. So
Yeah, I go between Machine and Akai. Like the funny part about like my relationship between, or the funny part about like just using both of those is um when I had a MPC 2000 Excel, that was around 2007, 2008.
Yeah,
And I remember around that time I also had a MacBook. So I would make the beats on the MPC, I would export the stems, and then I would mix them down in Logic on my Mac.
yep,
And my Mac at that time ended up going out on me. So I had to end up selling my MPC in order to buy another computer at that
yeah,
time. And years later though, when the MPC one came out, I got back into Akai, but the next DAW I bought when after I bought my new computer was Machine, and I kind of been using Machine a lot since then. So um I still though another reason I got back into the MPC one was the fact that I like the MPC workflow, and I think there are some similarities to them, both machine and and the
yeah,
MPC
yeah,
workflow.
yeah,
But
yeah,
at the same time, there are some things that I like about the workflow on an MPC, like for sampling, for example. I think it's a little bit more streamlined on the MPC opposed to on machine. It's a little bit more you got to do, but both of them, I'm heavily invested in the ecosystem of Akai
yep,
and Native Instruments. So I'm
yep.
always rock with them, even though like I got a lot of other homies. They use like Ableton, for example, and they trying to get me over to Ableton, and I'm not even gonna go down that road
Nope,
right
nope.
now because I'm cool with what I got. And
Yep, I
and
agree with that.
in addition to like I use a little bit of Logic too still to do some of my mixing. So yeah, that's kind of the route, man. We're kind of similar as well with the MPC. Um, Now I noticed also, let's talk about some of your projects. You had Dopamine that I took a listen to
Yeah,
off of your page, and then you told me about Mosaic, and I saw you had a track that you posted from Mosaic that I listened to,
yeah,
and that was kind of smooth. Mosaic is gonna be like an R&B project.
yeah. It is. The funny thing about that is, man, I had an R&B neo soul artist from Lexington, Kentucky, reach out. Was like, hey, man, been quietly looking at this stuff. I think you're a pretty dope producer, beat maker, all that good stuff. I want to see how I can, I want to see if you can make me a neo soul or an R&B type beat, and I want to see how I can use it, how I can flow into my next album. So I'm not even gonna lie, man. I've never done neo soul, never done it. So of course, as a producer or a beat maker, you haven't done anything. You got to go do your homework and your research. So of course, I pull out all my Erica Badu CDs, my Jill Scott's, my Music Soul Child, my Dwellers, and I just for like the next 2 days, I'm just listening, to their flow and all that good stuff. And then I was like, you know what? I got it. Came downstairs, did this beat in about. I sent him a rough copy in like 4 hours. He was like, "Yo, this is dope. I like it. Go ahead, finish it up. We can go ahead get the contract done. Send it to me, man. We'll get busy." And I just felt inspired by that, and I went ahead and just did like 10 more tracks. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make an album. And the sounds of like once again Jill Scott, Erica Badu, Dwelle, Music Soul Child, those artists, it sounds real earthy to me, like an earth tone type vibe. And the only way I can describe that was like it's a mosaic of different earth tones and all that good stuff. So that's where the name came in at. And I'm releasing that on the 30th of this month. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm excited because I've never done a project like it. It's always been like hip hop, maybe some trap, some old school, or stuff like that. I've never done something like this, so I'm really looking forward to how the audience or my audience or anybody for that matter, how they take a listen to it. I've let a couple of people hear some of the tracks and they were just like, "Yo, this is it." But you know how friends get. You let your friends hear your stuff. They're not going to tell you, "Yo, this." They're not going to kick you in your butt like you need them to. They're always going to be them yes men or whatever. So, um, I just been throwing out feelers with like a couple of tracks. Like I put out the title track Mosaic. I put that out on something, and then another track. I forget the name of it. I put that out last week, and then this Friday I'm gonna put out another snippet of another track on there. And that track is going to be named Lover's Intuition. It's kind of an upbeat type deal, but I'm gonna drop that one and just put the feelers out and keep promoting it and marketing it, man. But I'm pretty excited about this one. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, with R&B, generally speaking, I feel that's a void musically that it's been kind of hard to fill, in probably the last 10 to 15 years or so, maybe even a little longer. And, one, I think, that's kind of cool that you're doing that. And then two, just also being genre specific. Um, it's kind of cool to, and I said I wanted to do this too, which is break out of a sound that more people know you for. If you make a lot of hip hop beats, maybe doing an R&B. I said like I wouldn't mind later down the line. There's in fact this cat I gotta connect with. He's an older musician in the area, but I said I wanted to do more like jazz records in the
Oh
future.
yeah.
And he wanted me to go down to his studio and stuff. So, maybe we can work on something, I don't know, some type of jazz hip hop fusion type project. That's what I'm kind of thinking about. But I do want to branch out and I encourage like any creator, that's how you really I think become more of a producer and not just a beat maker. You kind of
Yep.
stretch yourself and just into just different subgenres. It could even be within hip hop. If you make mostly trap beats, maybe challenge yourself to start making West Coast beats. Maybe challenge yourself to start making boom bap beats. Just be versatile, not only for the customers or the fans or followers of your music that you can get, but it also might expand your opportunities in the future if that's in like sync and licensing or
Totally agree with
might
that.
be working with a major artist or whatever the case may be. um for yourself with a lot of the projects that you release, has that kind of whether it's expanding your following, not just, I'm not just talking necessarily on social media, but I'm talking about people that, listen to your music, and then also like a lot of the other like publishing opportunities, or it could be other even interviews like this. I saw you had an interview, in fact, on your page that I went through. A lot of the topics that we talked about here on this
Yep.
podcast as well. So definitely check that out. But how has releasing a lot of these instrumental projects help you on your journey?
First of all, I'm a jump ahead to go back. The reason why I do different projects is because I don't want to typecast myself. Meaning that I just don't want to be that hip hop producer. I just don't want to be that trap producer or that drill producer. I want to, have anybody come to me and be like, "Yo, I've heard this. I know you can do this type of style of music. Can you hook me up?" And I'll, what I'm saying, we go from there. But as for music wise, um, I'm on DistroKid, so that gives me an opportunity to get my music on Tidal, on Spotify, on all those streaming platforms. And what I like to do is just every now and then, everybody does it. go back and look at where their music is being played at, and to be honest with you, my music is being played more overseas than it is in the United States. And I think that has a lot to do with me not sounding like anybody else. I don't want to sound like nobody else. I think, and just like you said, with people, you should make it a priority to not sound like Hit Boy, to not sound like the next DJ Mustard, to not sound like whoever. You build your own style because why would you want to be the next Timberland when you can be the first you?
Yeah.
And I tell everybody that, and no knock to Timberland or Hit Boy or Mustard or anybody else, but they've created their lane, and I'm not saying that you can't do it, but what I like to do is like every now and then listen to these people, take like snippets of what they're doing and input it in my music. Like I'm not gonna lie, I love how Timberland syncopates his beats. I that just drives me bananas. Like the first time I heard him do that was doggone with the Leah, no, try again, 1 in a million. When he went with PD Pablo and Raise Up, I'm just like, yo, who in the heck is this beat maker producer? So I like to use this stuff. I like to use, of course, go to West Coast. I like to use like some of the stuff that Dre and Battle Cat, and Quick is doing. You know, down south, I gotta go with the Dungeon Family. Love the Dungeon Family, man. They put Outkast on the map, dude. Love the Dungeon Family. So I try to talk to people who wants to get into the business and man, hone your skill, be you. It doesn't. You can, like I said, you can take some of these pieces from these people and make your own style. So I would suggest you do that. And speaking of other projects, having people come to me, I got a real close friend of mine. Well, we've come to get close between the years. Um, he's believe it or not, he's a professor. He is a college professor, and he goes by the name of Professor Lyrical. And he's up in the D.C., Maryland, Boston area, and we came out with two singles. One last year was called Yo That's Pro, which I should have sent it to you, but I didn't. I apologize. And another one's called No. And I gravitate to No because it's a song of strength, a song of you battling adversity and all that good stuff, and it tells you that even though somebody like the whole saying, as one door closes, another door opens, and that's what type of message that we were trying to get out, to our fans and all that good stuff. And not only that, but he also did a video last month, which the video is pretty deep, and I will get that video, I will get that YouTube video to you so you can check it out after we get done here. But man, it's a pretty inspiring song, and more and especially inspiring lyrics and video. So I did the production on that. He did the lyrics, man, and we got together and got that done. And it's a pretty deep song. But yeah, man, I'm just trying to I'm trying to continue my marketing advertising on for the US side of the house. And it's hard because once again, you don't sound like nobody else. Like I'm not making no club hits. I'm not in the streets like that. So it's just that I want my music to mean something. And there are so many songs that you can listen to in the club, and and gravitate and all that good stuff too. But what about the uplifting stuff that we were trying to do back in the late '80s and early '90s, but Public Enemy and Brand Nubian and Poor Righteous Teachers and those types of groups that were trying to influence you to be positive and don't do anything. So what happened to that? So I'm pretty much trying to bring, not bring it to the forefront, but at least bring it to somebody's attention that there's a totally different side of music than the money, the jewelry, the women, the flashy cars, and all that good stuff. So that's what I guess that's what my mission is with my music, man. Is to uplift and bring shed light on different things besides the negativity of music. I mean, the negativity of this of life. So
Yeah, yeah. And one thing you said about, getting a lot of your plays internationally reminded me a lot about myself. I look at a lot of the Spotify like artist app stats, and then same thing with Apple Music. And I noticed like in Russia, out of all the places right now, I have some guys that really rock with me out there. So,
yeah, yeah.
it's kind of funny how things work. But I'll take the support from anywhere. But
Oh, no
that's
doubt, no
that's the
doubt,
cool part about being able to release to a platform like a distro kid and your music. I mean, you never know who comes across your music. And even another beat tape that I just dropped earlier this year. Um, I said it on a previous podcast, but it was in February, and we're almost in July. We got about another week or so
another
left,
week.
but
Yep.
um, and I released another beat tape before that and a single, but they're still jamming the
Rocking it,
first
yeah,
beat tape
rocking the
I
album,
came out
yeah,
with
yeah,
earlier.
yeah.
And I'm like, okay, all right, yeah, y'all have at it, y'all have at it. That's all good, man. Um, what you got on deck as far as you talked about Mosaic, but anything else you got on deck for the remainder of 2023? I know we still got about half the year left to
Man,
go, but
I'm not even gonna lie to you. So Mosaic is coming out. I started a series last year called the Five Spot. Right, I got Five Spot Volume One, Two. I got one and two out last year. So what I was doing with that is, which is crazy, because I was trying to show people that I wasn't pigeonholing myself again. So Five Spot Volume One was just old school hip hop beats. Five Spot Volume Two was trap beats. All right, just five, and it's only five, and it's only five tracks on each album. So Five Spot Volume Three is either going to be like a drill type album, or it's going to be R&B. I haven't decided yet. All right, and then I have another project. As soon as Mosaic drops, I've already started a project um, called called Love. Right. So now this is going to be like a slow R&B. The whole the wind down to get you in the mood, to get you and your girlfriend or wife or whoever it is, to a nightcap and do whatever. But it's going to be on something that I was like a part of my life, like and it's going to be like, even though the name of the album is going to be Love, it has like question marks behind it, like love, like whatever. So everything is going to be slow. The name, like I said, the name of the song, the name of the album is going to be Love. It's going to have question marks behind it, like love, like you're questioning what's going on. So it's going to be like different names of like what went on. Like you're questioning somebody, like why would you break my heart, or why'd you do it, or whatever. But it's going it to me it's going to be deep. I just hope that people gravitate to it and look into it and see it how I see it, which I know you're a producer and beat maker. You know that people, a lot of people won't vision, not won't vision what you see, but they'll gravitate to the music. So I'm I'm a not only do I like music, I'm also a visionary person. I like to put like different scenes together with the music to pretty much like mesh it together. And so that's gonna be pretty cool. That's gonna be cool. I'm excited about that. I just hope that a lot of people. I just hope that some people don't try to take it that I'm trying to talk about them or do whatever. And this has nothing to do with a lot of people. It just has everything to do with like something I went through in my past before my wife and all that good stuff that I didn't get answers to. That this is my way of I guess answering my own questions. So that's how I'm gonna do that. But man, I'm looking forward to that. I think it'll be cool. But we gotta get to Mosaic first, man. We definitely gotta get to that one. I am so excited about this album. You know.
and where can all of our listeners find you at and all your music online?
Okay, so um you can find me at D Street J Johnson on Instagram. You can also check out Jay Johnson on Facebook. Um, all of my music now, it's kind of crazy because I know everybody uses SoundCloud. I kind of use my SoundCloud page a lot different than everybody else. What I like to do with my SoundCloud page is like if somebody comes to me and like and they specifically want a song, what I do is I'll go ahead and make a rough copy and I'll send them a SoundCloud link to that song. If they like it, I'll go ahead and tweak it up and everything and send them a doggone the copy, the final copy, and I'll take that song down. But I do have a lot of music on SoundCloud. So if you go to my SoundCloud page, I want to say it's J Johnson 27 because it's like I guess 27 J Johnson. So I had to pick number 27. So if you go on there, you can actually hear some of the rough copies of Mosaic. You can actually hear, you know, basically all of my albums on SoundCloud for free right now. Everything else is on. I got all my albums on Tidal, all my albums on Apple Music, on iTunes, on Spotify. Basically, every streaming platform that's out there, I have my music there. Um, so I also have the pre-save of the pre-save link from Mosaic. I got that on my webpage and on Instagram. You can click there and you can get the pre-save version of that. Or if you want to, you can just listen to the rough copies of all my music on SoundCloud, man. Just like I said, go to J Johnson 27. All my music's right there. Just take a listen to it, vibe with me. If you like it, man, go to Spotify, go to Apple iTunes and all that good stuff, man, and check me out. All right. I would really appreciate it. I
Yeah,
would.
go ahead, check out Mosaic, check out all of Jay Johnson's work. And definitely appreciate Jay for rocking with us for this episode of the Major Music Lounge
No doubt.
podcast. You can follow me on Instagram at d._major music. Same thing on TikTok and on Twitter, d.mme. And go ahead if you like this interview. If you tuned in this whole time, hit the subscribe button. Like to post new interviews with creatives every week. So if you're interested in getting on a podcast, definitely hit me up on one of those platforms and we'll see about making it happen in the near future. This
No
has been
doubt.
another episode of the Major Music Lounge podcast. D. Dot and J Johnson. And we
Appreciate
out.
you, man.
Major Music.